Elizabeth, thank you so much for being part of our conversation this morning. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your connection with the Doak and Burnside area, and your involvement in local community.
Well, Steve, as you know, I'm Elizabeth Bell. I'm a member of Kilbride and a poor attendee, I know, but still feel this is my church, and I very much respect the Word of God. I'm a member of Burnside and District Community Group for 23 years and our founder member, along with Gretna, of South Antrim South Antrim Community Transport. We've changed their name.
Okay.
And recently a chairperson of Kilbride Play Group, by the way, which was founded by Gail Humphreys 35 years ago. I've only learned that this week.
Wow, that's
so
cool.
There you are. History's coming in now.
Very good.
So I'm a coordinator with Des Humphreys and Henrietta of Burnside Oil Club. I feel I'm a team player in all these things. But most important to me is my children and grandchildren. Sure. Watching them trying to get through daily life with health problems, financial worries, job issues. These are my worries, but all the rest is enjoyment and friendships built over the years. I feel very much of part of the community.
Very good. And you were living in Burnside up until very recently?
Yes, I lived in Burnside for 27 years and recently downsized to Beach Green, Doak. But Doak is very much part of the village, the mill villages. So Burnside, Cogray, Doak, we're all intertwined, as I would say, through families. There's so many families intertwined, as well as coming from the mill villages area.
Very good, very good.
That's the way it is.
Well, listen, from your contacts in the community and just your awareness of the community, what would you say have been the major difficulties that people have been experiencing over this last few months?
Well, I have given this some thought, Steve. The difficulties, as I see it, has caused people to stop and think of their self, their health-wise, and their family's needs, and how serious this has been to us all. Mm-hmm. And the need to adjust to the change in living, everyday living that is, to protect and support those around us. Our role in the community was to promote help available and give those we know a sense of you're not alone. Mm-hmm. Life has been turned upside down, and yes, we are frightened and concerned, knowing we can't get doctor's appointments, visits to EE, but we've had to learn to adjust to accept these limitations and to put trust in our scientists and our government to get us through this pandemic, which is really unheard of before. But it really has a silver lining too. Huh? I feel anyway, and we'll chat about that in a minute or two when you take in. Is there anything else there you would like to know?
Well, I suppose just, do you feel, have people been, obviously, as you said, not able to get doctor's appointments and so on, have people been struggling with health? Has isolation been a big issue for many people?
Well, isolation is a problem, but I found on talking to people that, yes, they were struggling, worrying about their health and appointments in hospitals, not able to get them, cancer patients knowing they were put on hold, can't even get local doctors appointments, and felt that created isolation in a way.
Sure.
From my point of view, that created isolation too, you know.
Yeah.
But if there was a serious incident, they knew they had to go to the hospital, and that was still there as an option.
Although I suppose if there were any trips to hospital, those were filled with their own concerns, weren't they? People were worried about what kind of environment they might be going into.
Well, I think that, yes, that started to show up, didn't it? Yes, when they had been in hospital and then they were hearing about so many people visiting hospital and getting COVID-19.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was frightening.
Well, listen, Elizabeth, you touched a little bit in your answer to the previous question, just on some of the silver lining and, in a way, some of
Yes.
the positive things. And I think we've heard many stories over the last few months of how neighbours and communities have come together to support each other during this time. What for you have been some of the highlights around the Burnside Doak area of how communities and neighbours have come together?
Well, there's a lot has happened, Steve. The pandemic gave us the chance to reach out to volunteer, those who could volunteer with hands-on. Some of us seniors were unable to do that.
Mm.
The chance to use word of mouth, telephone, social media, help and support, promote help and support that was available through the church's Village Together scheme.
Mm-hmm.
There was a great help through South Antrim Rural Community Transport. They're working every day delivering groceries, prescriptions, lunches for Toom Group, food parcels for Antrim, Newton Abbey Borough Council, very often to very rural areas that you never really hear of. The back end of Cushendall or Cushendun or over from the other side of Toom. And also our staff were ringing people that were members of the South Antrim Rural Transport, ringing them maybe once a week or once every fortnight to say, look, we're here, ask us if you need help. Mm-hmm. So that was good. And as you know, with myself, Des Humphreys, Henrietta Cameron and myself being coordinators of Burnside Oil Club, it gave us the opportunity to talk to people that didn't have mobiles and all this. We rang them and very often we had a good chat about anything but the price of oil, which was very cheap, and we enjoyed that. But it gave us that opportunity again to take a little time to get to know some of those people a little better. Although I'm very aware of them all, as my other coordinators are. We feel as if we're part of a family nearly, with nearly 200 members, so that is quite a lot. Social media was very good, I felt, for the silver lining. Give us a chance to keep in touch with families and send stories and flowers and information to each other. I really loved Wee Alfie. I don't know, did you see Wee Alfie, the wee dog that talks?
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, well, you missed out there, Steve. Really, he had a funny story every day.
Very
I loved him. Anyway, that was one of the highlights to me, was the communications of using social media as an older person, probably. And realised how important it is to young people, and it really has given them something to cling on to through this pandemic. In their own homes. I'm sure they were all using it all day to try and get through.
I think they were,
so really, I think that also clapping for the National Health Service gave us a chance to meet our neighbours, sending a message to them. We are aware of the task in hand, and all the others working to keep life going on as normal or as easy as possible, meaning food lines and deliveries and all the other things. So this was really an opportunity for people to communicate together, and I felt that was the silver lining for me anyway. I don't know, I'm sure everybody has stories to tell, as you say.
I think we will. Tell me, Elizabeth, did the nursery manage to stay active, or maybe in a different way than it normally has been, or just even in connections with the nursery parents and so on, or committee?
Well, yes, I'm on the management of it rather than but I had to keep in close contact with the staff. They were working, well, two of them were working, one was furlonged. They were working through Seesaw with the children maybe twice or three times a week. So they were trying to continue to do that. And there was an awful lot of work behind the scenes for our leader and staff with the information and what we're going to have to do here to open up. And I feel as if I've put my back into that a wee bit recently, and are very committed now. We've got very committed. There's 3 members of the Burnside Community Group on the management committee now, and I feel as if we're getting somewhere, but it has been a blow to the way the thing will work in the future. And I feel for the children, because I'm not too sure that we'll get them all back in September. And this is a bit of a worry. So who do you leave out? You know, it's not easy.
I think it's a dynamic that a lot of people are working with. You know, we're having to deal with it as a church as to how we get the congregation back. Schools are having to deal with the same situation. The nursery is no different. And you don't want anybody to feel disadvantaged or left out. You want to include everybody as much as possible. But
that's true.
Regulations are there's quite a lot involved in them, isn't there?
There's a lot involved in all that, and it's very tight as well. There's, but I'm a great optimist, I think is the word you would use. I keep saying we'll all be back in September, wait and see. So we will wait and see. I have a feeling that we have 20 children in the play group. That's 10 pre-pre's and 10 children who the government pays for their prior to going up to primary school. They get a year free, I think it is the way it is.
Okay, good.
And we've been pushing our MLAs and things for that, for the funding is totally inadequate for it as well. So you're missing out on all your fundraising.
Sure.
To keep the thing going. So it's a big problem. But anyway, we're optimistic, as I say.
And you've been keeping active outdoor in the village. There's been flower planting going on and various
things. We've been very busy with all that. And I love the flowers, actually, I tell you the truth. In my own group now, I think I've become more environmentalist than anything, because there's other officers in place, you see, so I am more on the back foot now. But I'm very much involved, we miss the communications. We have WhatsApp, and we love sending each other messages and what's happening as a group. And we have actually had 2 meetings through social spacing, you know, one in your car park. We brought our sun seats and we all sat around a big ring.
Brilliant.
We should have taken a picture, for it would have been good.
Yeah.
So that was a good meeting. And we were happy. We were really discussing your B&B and GB girls doing their Duke of Edinburgh stuff. So that was what that meeting was about. And
very
yes,
good.
It was good fun. It was a bit of good fun as well, as I got stuck in the sun seat and had to help me.
Very good.
Oh, good. So I had to depend on Patricia McCauley to give me an arm and Kenny Bogle to give me a push.
Very good.
Oh, so we had a bit of fun anyway.
Absolutely. Listen, I realise, here's maybe one final question. I realise I maybe didn't give you a heads up about this one. If we're looking forward into the next few months, and we as a church want to obviously remain and continue to be involved in our local community, and we want to pray for our local community, what do you think are the key things that we need to think about for the next few months? You've obviously mentioned the nursery and issues of funding and getting ready with guidelines. Are there other particular things you think we need to watch out for and consider and pray about for the next few months?
I really appreciate the prayers for the play group, and I do think that actually the church has got quite involved in our community, because you are very much there for us when we use your premises, and we always feel welcome, and that's good. And I think really we just have to continue to reach out to each other, and if maybe when we get through all this, it would be nice maybe to have a community service or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember years ago we had one and it was very well attended. Just for, as you say, being thankful to get through all this COVID-19 and pandemic, as they would call it. So I just feel as if we just continue the way we're doing, Steve. That's all I can say at the minute.
That's great. Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being willing to be part of this conversation and for giving us all your wealth and depth of experience and knowledge.
Well, I hope it was a little bit of help. If not,
Oh,
don't worry
absolutely.
about it. We're not.
It's been fantastic. So thank you so much for that, and be assured of the prayers and thoughts of us as a church for our community. We do want to stay very much part of our community and connected and serving there. So do be assured of that in the coming weeks and months. So thank you for being part of this.
Well, thank you, Steve. I will pass that on to my group, because you have been very good with phone calls and even an odd wee treat arriving from Alwyn on the doorstep. It's been good. So we do feel very much part of Kilbride, so that's good.
That's
And
great.
I don't know a lot about Doak, although I live here, but I'm still building bridges down here. I help them with their flowers, so that
You're
was
learning.
one of
You're learning.
learning.
That's what it is.
Just learning, just accepting what you can do.
Very
So,
good.
well, thanks, Steve, and thanks for the opportunity to do Zoom. I've never done that before. That's another wee thing I'll have to tell the grandchildren.
Brilliant.
Grandma was Zooming.
Brilliant.